Good afternoon, Swati. Good afternoon, Rajiv Kumar. And we are waiting for
afternoon.
Utpal to join, and also another participant from Italy, Agnes Caccini. And my name is Rajiv Pillai, and very warm welcome to all of you. I am the president of India Smart Grid Forum, which is a public-private partnership initiative of Ministry of Power. We are operational for about 10 years. Many of you don't know us because we don't directly interact with media much. So, but very important policy and projects which have happened in 10 years in the clean energy, in electric mobility, etc. We being the proponent, and we were spearheading, we were advising central government as well as state government, regulatory commissions and utilities, including making roadmaps. One of the first thing we have done was in 2000. Just 1 second, someone calling me. Let's see if any other participant. So a smart grid roadmap for India was prepared, and it was debated with all stakeholders and released by Government of India in 2013 August. So by and large, even now, what we are doing is by and large according to that roadmap. But only thing is that after Modi Sahab has come, he has changed the numbers. We at that point in time we are pursuing a solar program of 20 gigawatt. Now the new government has made it 100 gigawatt of solar, of which we have already achieved almost 50%. So like that, many target and numbers have increased, but the roadmap remained the same. Same with the electric mobility, electric grid modernization, strengthening the medium voltage and low voltage grid. All these things are going according to that roadmap only. A national smart grid mission was launched sometime in 2015. So our energy cooperation program, which we have been doing with countries such as are you able to get to Utpal? Okay. So we used to have energy cooperation program with countries like Japan, with USA, Germany, etc. And all this used to be studies and reports. We changed the narrative. We said studies and reports are not going to help us. We want demonstration project, pilot project. You do bring your technology and do a demonstration project which people can see what are the challenges in actually doing something on ground. So today all energy cooperation programs talks about demonstration projects. No more about any report. Most of them are like that. So these are some of the pivotal roles which India Smart Grid Forum has been playing, and we wanted to now talk to you to see that what could be a better role played by media, both print media, visual media, social media, all of them in promoting the energy transition. Government alone cannot do everything. So whatever government has done, also people do not know. Some I'm just still seeing whether or my colleagues are helping other two participants to join in. So today, 1 kilowatt of rooftop solar can be installed for less than 35,000 rupees. That's all it costs in any part of India for a average quality solar panel, including inverter. So 1 kilowatt panel will produce average 5 units of electricity. So, and any middle class home who consume 300 to 500 units of electricity, or upper middle class in the northern part of India, those who use air conditioning and all that, consume more than 500 units of electricity. We all pay something like 9 rupees per unit of electricity. 1 unit means 1 kilowatt hour. So 5 kilowatt hour which is produced in a day is equivalent to something like 45 to 50 rupees, depending on which state and which tariff slab you are. So that 45 to 50 rupees and per day, and what you are paying for that 35,000 rupees for a 1 kilowatt solar panel, your payback time is less than 3 years. So that is economics, but people don't know about it because media doesn't write about it. Media don't tell. People listen only to media. No, so any amount of hour talking in a conference or any other public platform or tweeting, it doesn't reach the man on the street who has to actually do some of these things. So for that, it is important that we want media's help and cooperation in sending these very important messages. So we have been, a year ago, we had published a paper also where we said that a solar panel, people should be able to buy. Now, I'm sure any one of you.
He has to be patterned through phone. He's not able to learn.
Then how he's Utpal, how you're talking, how will others listen? You can listen to what I am talking when you are on.
Yeah, I can listen to what you're saying.
But when you say, I don't know, sorry, can you hear what he say? You just speak, Utpal, for a minute. Utpal, say something. Let me see people on the platform.
Hi guys, sorry, there was some kind of an error. I've not been able to log in.
Sorry, can you hear what he said?
I can hear him if I put my audio a little louder, that's all.
So let me see.
Utpal ji ki आवाज आ रही है. It is audible.
Audible. Very good. Very good.
Rajiv ji, thank you. Swati, long time.
I know.
So try for Agnes. So Utpal, thank you very much for joining. So while waiting for you, I was trying to explain. You cover the sector for a long time, so you know many of these numbers. So I was trying to convey a very simple thing that for a middle class family in India, rooftop solar has become economically attractive. It has become economically attractive. I'm saying that 1 kilowatt can be installed, including inverter, for less than 35,000 rupees. And all of us, middle class, pay something like 8 to 9 rupees per unit of electricity. So your payback time is less than 3 years. And this is information which is not known to people. So we need media's help in doing that. So for a while, we have been talking to MNRE. Unfortunately, because of pandemic and leadership change, last 2 years, we have not been able to have effective interaction with them. So we have been telling them that public, the domestic sector. Yes.
Intervene. I think I'm connected now.
Oh, very good. Let me see. They are not seeing you. Yeah, you are there. Yeah, you're visible. You can unmute and speak from there.
Right. Thanks.
So I was saying about our interaction and engagement with MNRE. So because of leadership change and the lockdown, the pandemic situation, we have not been able to effectively meet with them and convey this message. Our point of view is that the regular residential customers do not need any kind of subsidy or grant from government for rooftop solar. Rooftop solar is economically attractive, and there should be a revolution. Like I can walk into a neighborhood appliance store, buy an air conditioner or a washing machine, and an electrician from the store will come and install it in my house. The same way, I should be able to walk into a appliance store, buy 1 kilowatt or 2 kilowatt or 5 kilowatt, choose a model, a different makes of model, approved by the same utility where I live. It should be available in the neighborhood appliance store. I should be able to go choose, and a tested and approved installer sent by the shop will come and install on my house. This kind of a scenario should happen. For that, ministry and policymakers should spend money rather than giving a subsidy. I don't need nobody needs subsidy for rooftop solar to be economically viable. That stage we have passed. Like that, there are several other new programs. As all of you would have heard, India is the only country which have met the 2020 targets and also the 2030 target under the Paris Agreement towards renewable energy. So we need to, now we have a new target of 500 gigawatt by 2030. So all this need to be known to the common people on the street who need to be participating with the government and utilities in this journey. So I not only buy electricity, I should be able to now. Fortunately, there are some very interesting development which has happened recently. You can buy green electricity. The Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Commission last year in July issued an order. If any of the customer want green electricity, please give them, and for which additional 63 paise is the wheeling charges which Tata Power or the utilities in Maharashtra can charge. The cost of the solar energy and the wheel cross subsidy, etc., separate to be taken care. Like I am a socially conscious resident in, say, South Bombay. Tata Power, I consume whatever, say 10 kilowatt every day. Tata Power, I can tell them, you give me green electricity, source from whatever, and charge that premium. And in many cases, there is no need for even a premium. If they are sourcing it for 100 of us together from a large solar farm from Maharashtra or Madhya Pradesh or somewhere at 2 rupee 43 paise, even if you pay all kind of wheeling and subsidy charge, still it will land in Bombay at 5 rupees. And they can take their 63 paise wheeling charges and 5 rupees 63 paise they can give me versus the commercial rate of 9 rupees which I am paying in South Bombay today. So this is possible. And a very interesting order which has recently happened from Ministry of Power in January about the public charging stations, electric vehicle charging station. They have written that the open access will be given to public charging stations to source renewable energy from anywhere. And one of the debate narrative about the electric vehicle is that you are only pushing pollution, you are not reducing pollution, because if you are continue to charge the electric vehicle from the electricity from the grid, which is powered predominantly by electricity produced in coal power plant, you are only pushing the pollution from the vehicle to a thermal power plant somewhere in the countryside, which is not true anymore. More and more electricity we are producing from renewable resources, and public charging stations today has been asked to give open access. So I can go to a charging station and I can say that I am willing to pay that 2 rupees or 3 rupees extra for charging my car with the green electron, and they give me a sticker, I put it on my car, and I drive proudly saying that I am actually, my vehicle is being driven on green electrons produced somewhere. So these are the new things which we are trying to do. We are trying to do a pilot on that in Delhi, where this transaction will happen on a blockchain platform. So where a certificate of origin the person will get. The public charging station operator will source electricity transparently from a green electricity producer, a solar farm owner or a wind farm owner, and that smart contract will be executed on a blockchain platform. And when I go and I charge my car for 20 kilowatt hour or 30 kilowatt hour, end of it, he give me a sticker with a QR code, which will actually, you can see from where the electrons have actually come. Although exact electron, we cannot track it. That's a different thing. We may take several years for that. But at least a charging station has sold, say, 1,000 units of electricity last 1 hour, out of which 500 people paid premium and bought green electricity. That 500 units can be traced to a place from there, a solar farm or wind farm from where that charging station fellow has bought that 500 units. So that certificate of origin transparently can be made. So these are all new things which are there. So you should be able to convey this to the public that you can today without much. And I see a scenario moving forward, the cost of that will be less. There will be times during the day when electricity will be cheaper because of the surplus generation during the day from the solar. That's a future. A time of use. Today we pay flat tariff throughout the month. You consumed, say, 1,000 units in a month, you pay one tariff. Whether you use it in the morning or evening peak or afternoon or midnight, the distribution companies are not doing that segregation. But a real-time pricing scenario is going to come. We have done a study and a report 2 years ago in Gujarat, and we are going to take up a pilot in Uttar Pradesh for a class of customers, giving a pricing signal and ask them to reduce or increase the load. When there is surplus on the grid, we will tell them to increase. When there is deficit on the grid, we'll tell them to reduce their load, and then prepare a bill and comparative bill. The pilot phase, it will be no actual money transaction, it will be a shadow bill. So people will know, taken that pricing signal from the utility, I reduce the load, and this system TOU scheme was in, then this much money I would have saved. We'll also estimate how much impact it will have on the revenue of the utility, how much peak power purchase cost they can reduce, all that pilot we are going to do. So very soon, maybe 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, most of the customers, including residential customers, will have a choice to go into a real-time pricing in which, say, a smart plug, for example, today, which can be $10, $15, the highest category of or quality of smart plug you get it. You connect your air conditioner or your rice cooker or your washing machine between your wall and the plug point. You put the smart plug, which is connected to your Wi-Fi network at home, and on a mobile app from your office, you can control it. So when the TOU price signal comes saying that today 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock there is surplus generation, solar generation in the grid, and there is a reduced load on the grid, you can operate. So the electricity prices are going to be 2 rupees less. 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I'm giving you 2 rupee rebate. You can turn on your washing machine. You can turn on your rice cooker sitting in office. These are today's technology with today's connectivity which you have, and at that additional $10-15 investment on a smart plug, you can do that. And but many people don't know about it. They don't do it. So we need to change that. Similarly, water pumping, pre-cooling. Even you can, when the electricity is cheap, you can pre-cool the room and turn off your air conditioner for a couple of hours if the room is already 22 degrees centigrade when the electricity was 5 rupees or 3 rupees. And later when the peak hour, when it is 8 rupees or 9 rupees or even a peak pricing 2 rupees extra, you don't need to run the compressor of the air conditioning for a couple of hours. So all these are possible, but people don't know about it. Even educated people don't know about it, for which we seek the support of the media. And this is, and as I, well, before you're coming, you were saying that we have done a lot of good work in the renewable energy side, and you know it better than all of us. You've been closely tracking the ministries, and but the common man on the street doesn't know about it. So to take this message to them, make them a partner in this energy transition and in this ongoing revolution and journey to net zero, we need the help of media. And this is in any conference, this is the first time this topic is being discussed, and we want to take this as a regular topic and to bring more and more of your colleagues, and at least devote 1 hour in a month to write about renewable energy and how it is beneficial for people, at least sometime in a week or a month. Over to you.
Reggie, no, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but in fact, the two quick takeaways from this, and it's absolutely a pleasure. I'm meeting old friends after a long time. I find Swati here and Rajiv is here. And you kind of summed it up when you said that at least for 1 hour, write about renewable. At least I think that my esteemed colleagues on this panel, the amount of coverage they would have given, they would have made, if I'm not wrong, and please correct me, guys, any of you, please do so. I think these are the people who have been covering this space when it used to be CSR rather than business, right? So there was a time when the and absolutely no offense meant, but there was a time when the marquee cine actors used to be the largest investors into green energy. Also, Reggie, one thing very interesting I found out, in fact, in your conversation, a South Mumbai denizen doesn't want to give a 9.5 rupee tariff. Is that what you said? If in fact I picked that up there. Interesting stuff. As in the world changes by the minute. More so, this is being held at a time when there is absolutely this kind of an aggression which we have seen happening in Europe right now. I wanted to get Swati to come in on this. In fact, Swati, I wanted to ask you this. See, while he has framed it very nicely, and obviously everything comes towards the press or the media, but also it's also a reflection of the times. There was a time when green was supposedly like you're a goody, two thumbs there, and your thumbs are green enough. My question to you is that when did you realize this will be the biggest beat, so to say, climate and environment of our times? As in, you look around, everything has to be intrinsically related to this. So in your career, when did you realize this will be the beat of our times?
Well, thanks, Utpal, and it's really a pleasure actually to catch up. And I think no better than you who had covered this sector so closely. I remember, many years ago, we used to be on ground and cover this space very intensely. And I think to answer your question about when did I actually realize that this will become as big as it is today, intrinsic part of our lives, forget the businesses. But so I don't think I have an accurate answer for it, to be very honest. It's only through last 4 or 5 years when we saw the commitment coming in, not just from the world, but every conversation, every forum, especially on the global front. Like you talk about World Economic Forum and so on. I mean, we saw it from a distance. India was always somebody who would look at what these guys were discussing at the global level and take cues from it. We never felt that it was something that our country also needed and we needed to participate in until I would say maybe 3 or 4 years back. This change in my mind has been more real in last few years, especially on the advent of how, and I will give credit to this government to realize this and benchmark ourselves with the global guys and understand that we will have to play a role sooner than later. The good thing is sometimes we can take cues from the West. We know what is going to come to us if they are already facing it as developed nations. Sooner or later, we will be there too. So that sort of gives us a fair advantage to assess and align ourselves right. Now, nobody anticipated the kind of damage it is doing to our our environment, to our lives in the way it has. You talk about and recent IPCC report, and I'm sure everyone is aware of how startling are the some of these observations and some of these predictions in that report, which doesn't look unreal today. Seeing what is happening, I mean, freak weathers, floods, and there's drought, and at weird times of the year. So these things are going to come hit us someday. I still feel we are very late in the day to realize what's happened. I really hope and wish we all now can actually start doing things rather than just talk. So yeah, we've realized it about 3 or 4 years ago in a serious way. We still have a long way to go.
Sure. Rajiv, in fact, meeting you on the beats, obviously, I'll pose the same question to you. So when did this actually hit you that this is perhaps and it has got so much different dimensions to it. There's the geopolitics involved. There's like if river drying up, wind dying down. In fact, grids going for a toss. When did you come to know that they have made the best beat choice while covering this and writing upon this such an interesting subject?
एक्चुअली थैंक यू उत्पल। मैं आपको हिंदी में बोलूंगा और ज्यादा चूंकि मैं
Please.
मुझे लगता है कि आप पिल्लई साहब यू अंडरस्टैंड हिंदी?
Oh yeah, very well. Very well.
Okay, it's good. So first of all, उत्पल जी आपको याद होगा काफी जब 2010 में एमएनआरई में सोलर पे स्टार्ट हुआ था, आपको याद होगा रूफटॉप सोलर उस समय लाया गया था। फर्स्ट टाइम में इंडिया में एक कंसेप्ट आया था कि आप अपनी घर की छत पर सोलर पैनल लगाएंगे, जिसकी बात अभी पिल्लई साहब कर रहे थे कि 35,000 में आप 1 मेगावाट जो है वो कर सकते हैं, है कि नहीं? किलोवाट। तो ये it was started in 2010 when Mr. Tarun Kapoor was joint secretary in MNRE and he started this. And उसके बाद क्या हुआ कि वो बहुत पहली बार मैंने इसको रिपोर्टिंग की थी एमएनआरई की साइट पे। मैं एक दिन गया था, इट वाज संडे, एंड मैंने देखा कि वो ड्राफ्ट पेपर वहां था। मैंने उसको पूरा पढ़ा एंड देन आई पब्लिश्ड इट। तो लोगों ने मुझसे, कई लोग, दैनिक भास्कर में, एट दैट टाइम आई वाज इन बिजनेस भास्कर, द बिजनेस न्यूज़पेपर ऑफ दैनिक भास्कर, तो कई लोगों का फोन आया कि यार ये छत पे हम कैसे पैनल लगाएंगे, आप बताइए मुझे। हम कि देखो अभी ये सरकार इस प्रपोजल को ला रही है। तो उत्पल जी, जैसा कि आपने पूछा, तो इट वाज इंटरेस्टिंग एट दैट टाइम। उसके बाद धीरे धीरे ये इंटरेस्ट, एमएनआरई एक ऐसा बीट था कि उस समय हर कोई इसको कवर भी नहीं कर रहा था। पावर इट वाज वेरी चैलेंजिंग बीट। आपको याद होगा उस समय कैसे पावर कट होता था, डेली ग्रिड। आप ओपन एक्सेस की बात आप पिल्लई साहब कर रहे थे, जो कि ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन में लाया गया है ओपन एक्सेस। इस पे मैं आपको बता दूं, उत्पल जी मुझसे बेहतर जानते हैं बिकॉज ही इज मास्टर ऑफ पावर सेक्टर। तो ओपन एक्सेस इतना आसान नहीं है। और
Rajiv ji, sorry to interrupt you. And Reggie, I'm sure you would have realized it's embarrassing to meet old friends. Rajiv is just proving it. Rajiv ji, please. Sorry, आपने आपको रोक दिया.
नहीं, तो मैं ये कह रहा था कि एक ना उत्पल जी, ये बड़ा ही नया सब्जेक्ट था. 2008 के बाद 2008-9 से स्टार्ट हुआ जो पावर सेक्टर. इट वाज वेरी चैलेंजिंग फॉर इंडिया आल्सो. सरकार के सामने चैलेंजेस थे. हम लोग जो है रिन्यूएबल में एंट्री ले रहे थे. आप उस समय याद होगा, लोग कहता था सोलर. मुझे याद है, रूपराय चौधरी वाज द CMD NTPC. एक दिन उन्होंने मुझे कहा कि यार देखो, सोलर जो है ना, इट्स लाइक ए ड्राइंग रूम. सोलर जो है वो जैसे तुम्हारे घर के लॉन में लाइट लगी होती है, उसके लिए तो ठीक है, लेकिन तुम अपने घर की बिजली के लिए या इंडस्ट्री के लिए ये सोलर और रिन्यूएबल, इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल. तो कहने का मेरा ये मतलब है कि धीरे धीरे चैलेंज था उस समय, लेकिन धीरे धीरे ये सॉर्ट आउट होता गया. आज कहाँ 35,000 पे आप 1 किलोवाट लगा रहे हैं, और कहाँ उस समय 1 मेगावाट में जो है वो उसका कॉस्ट कितना आता था. काफी, आई थिंक 3 टाइम्स 4 टाइम्स इस अभी से अकॉर्डिंगली महंगा था. तो और लेकिन अब जो एक चैलेंज आया है पिल्लई साहब, इस MNRE के साथ साथ, जैसा कि नेट जीरो जो हमारा सब्जेक्ट भी है, नेट जीरो, तो कैसे नेट जीरो लाना इतना आसान, जैसे 45 कितना 4,50,000 मेगावाट है ना हमारा जो 2030 तक जो हम लोगों ने,
अब 500,000 मतलब 5 लाख
5 लाख मेगावाट, राइट. तो अभी हम लोग 175 लाख मेगा जो था हमारा 1.75 लाख मेगावाट का, वो उसका हम लगभग अराउंड 56-60% अराउंड ही कवर कर पाए हैं. 2022 में हमारा वो टारगेट था. तो ये MNRE जो रिन्यूएबल है, ये मीडिया के लिए एक नया सब्जेक्ट है. हालांकि ये आप सही कह रहे हैं कि बहुत कम लोग हैं जो इस पे लिखते हैं और इतना इंटेंस जाकर इतनी गहराई से चीजों को समझते हैं और फिर उसको लोगों के सामने लाते हैं. तो थोड़ा सा मीडिया का रोल जो है वो उसका दायरा बढ़ाया ही जाना चाहिए. लेकिन उत्पल जी, आप सही कहे, उनसे जो आपने सवाल पूछा है कि ये बीट कितना आप कवर करते हैं और कितना, मतलब कि ये एक प्रोमिनेंट बीट. अभी तक MNRE बीट जो है वो एक प्रोमिनेंट बीट नहीं हो पाया अखबारों में. अंग्रेजी अखबारों में तो ये खास है. अब उत्पल जैसे सीनियर जर्नलिस्ट जो है वो काफी इन चीजों को लिखा, उन्होंने लोगों को समझाया, पढ़ाया, दूसरों ने फॉलो किया. लेकिन हिंदी अखबारों में खास करके रीजनल जो लैंग्वेज है उसमें MNRE बीट पे इतना किसी को मतलब नहीं होता. बॉस की बायोफ्यूल से यार सोलर लगेगा. अब एक्चुअल में क्या है कि टारगेट ऑडियंस भी जो हमारा होता है वो थोड़ा सा, अब वो सोलर पैनल घर पे लगवाए, अभी बेचारा वो ठीक से तो बिजली, उसके घर में AC नहीं है, तो अब वो कहाँ से सोलर पैनल लगवाएगा और फिर उनसे चीजों को. तो अब जैसे मीटरिंग की बात है, उत्पल जी आपको पता ही है, डिस्कॉम के थ्रू जो हम लोग वाले सोलर पैनल लगवाते हैं तो उसको हम बेच भी सकते हैं. अब इन सब चीजों को आगे लाने की जरूरत तो है. लोगों को ये समझाना तो पड़ेगा कि कैसे आप इससे मुनाफा भी कमा सकते हैं. अभी एक दिन आप बता रहा हूँ कि कुसुम योजना जब सोलर पंप वाली आया उत्तर प्रदेश में, बहुत इसको लाया गया, या टारगेट था कि सारे सोलर पर जितने पंप है डीजल सेट से चलने वाले, उसको हम सोलर में कन्वर्ट कर देंगे. कुसुम का अभी आप पावर मिनिस्ट्री की साइट पे जाइएगा तो लिखा रहेगा कि इसमें फर्जीवाड़ा हो रहा है. जस्ट आएगा कि कुसुम में जो है वो उससे बचे. तो कहने का मतलब है कि आज भी हम कुसुम को पूरी तरीके से रोल आउट नहीं कर पाए हैं. बहुत सारे अभी भी इंडिया में जो किसान है वो डीजल सेट से ही पंप चला रहे हैं. तो मीडिया का रोल है, मीडिया का रोल जो है इसमें. अब कुसुम के बारे में क्या है कि लोगों का इतना उदासीनता है यार. अगर आप कुसुम के बारे में स्टोरी लिखिएगा तो यार क्या है स्टोरी, कुछ खास, छोटा सा छाप दो. तो ये माइंडसेट भी है. इसको अखबार में मीडिया का रोल तो इसमें लाना पड़ेगा, लेकिन इस सबसे बड़ी बात है कि इस माइंडसेट को बदलना होगा कि ये इंपॉर्टेंट है. अब जैसा मान लीजिए फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री इंपॉर्टेंट है, लाइक दैट हमको MNRE को इंपॉर्टेंट बनाना पड़ेगा. लाइक दैट जैसे पॉलिटिक्स इंपॉर्टेंट है, पॉलिटिक्स को इतना कवरेज मिलता है, तो लाइक दैट आज क्लाइमेट चेंज, इन्वायरमेंट और रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी को जो है इंपॉर्टेंट बनाना पड़ेगा, तभी कुछ ऐसा हो सकता है.
Right.
I'd like to welcome Agnes from Rome. She's the group editor for a group of publications in Italy, and known to us for long. And she covered energy, particularly renewable energy, for long. Agnes, welcome to the team, and I will introduce you to Rajiv Kumar, who a very popular journalist covering the vernacular Hindi press, and Swadik Delwal, she is from the TV media, and Utpal Bhaskar, the moderator for this. He is one of the very senior-most journalists covering the power sector in India from Mint. Mint is a publication which is what your Washington Post and joint venture of Hindustan Times.
No, it was launched earlier as a partnership with Wall Street Journal. And thank you, Reggie. Welcome, Agnes. In fact, what he meant by being me senior was maybe he didn't mean me being old. Maybe I think wise was the word that he was searching for. But anyway, thanks a lot. Thanks for taking out time for this. And in fact, we were just going around the panel to understand about.
Take a minute for a group photo of all the speakers.
Yeah, please.
And I would like to request all the speakers for a beautiful smile. Yeah, technically, can you please take a photo?
Thank you.
So, Agnes, we were talking about how, as in this country, obviously, given the size of us and the growing economy, but still reporting on green wasn't mainstream until it was more to be looked at as a CSR subject. So there were wind power projects which were being set up here, and some of my esteemed colleagues, and they have, in fact, both of them have been reporting on this when it was still one of those very esoteric subjects. I wanted to ask you, how has the experience been in Italy and in Europe? Because obviously, if you look at the way that some of the countries, they fully went green. Obviously, some experiences worked out well, some didn't work out very well. But when was it for you that you realized that this will be the defining subject, at least for years to come, for reportage, which is green, climate finance, clean energy, and environment?
Thank you for your invitation. First of all, thank you, Regis. Thank you, India Smart Grid event, because I really like being involved in it. It's really interesting. I'm really excited to be here now. Actually, I can show you two different point of view. First of all, in Italy, we start talking more about green and renewable. But for the mainstream, the news is crisis. So if a climate crisis, energy crisis, so it just they talk about this theme when something very strong happened, actually. But something's going to change, luckily. And in the last 2 years, probably COVID helped from that. They start also, in the mainstream, start to have some attention of what means being green and ecology transition. This is also, I think, because the European Union had promote green and ecology transition in his plan. So I'm sorry, I hear a lot of noise here. I don't know. I hope that it's not me.
No, not at all. Please go ahead. I think there is some one of the microphones is right. Yeah, please go ahead.
So also something is going to change, and we have to thank you, the European Union, that promote the ecology transition as economy transition. So when the economies start to go together with the green, the sound is going to change. That's the issue. But of course, this is a new wave before, and is still in this way for the main news that we can see. The bigger attention is to the crisis. So if this climate crisis, or also if it's in Italy, we have a lot of problem with the hydrological balance in the country, because we have a lot of hydrological problem, and also earthquake. So they talk about climate crisis when there is an hydrological issue. They prefer to talk in this way. Now I think that with the new the new European Union assessment is going to change, but it's a long way. It's still a long way.
Right. In fact, also you talked about crisis. We are having this discussion when there is one of the major crises this world would have ever seen is unfolding across post Second World War. We are talking about how energy sourcing, also a lot of molecules which are supposed to come from Russia, and obviously, but it's very interesting as well because while everything else is banned, in fact, some of the major banks have been taken out of SWIFT. Their energy exports are not being banned. So maybe perhaps the only, there's a huge cost of human lives involved, but maybe energy is something which might be able to, I don't know, I can't do any.
Fly over the war.
Yeah,
Energy to fly over the war.
Yeah, there's no crystal ball gazing happening here. But I wanted to ask this to Swati. Swati, you've been covering the subject for years now. Any interesting experiences that you would like to share with people who have been watching this? Because while there's a constant refrain has been media should do this, media should do that, also there has to be a certain kind of, obviously it takes two to tango in this, so to say, but any interesting experiences when you started covering this as a subject? Obviously, governments have, there are departments which are obtuse, and obviously some of the government departments don't understand. It makes more sense to engage and to put out the information out there rather than being very quiet about it, which also kind of, and as reporters, our jobs have always been to inform. So any interesting experiences when you were covering this?
Well, it's actually evolved over many years, and I would agree that what it used to be, let's say 15 years ago, when we just started, or maybe 20 years ago, when we kind of started out to understand this sector ourselves, I think the first, I think our duty was to first decomplexify this not so easy energy beat. I mean, you would know it better than anybody else. I mean, the numbers, the lack of interest from a common audience, as Rajiv ji was also talking about, these jargonized words, most people don't relate with. I mean, they are as much concerned about whether electricity comes in their home or no. I mean, to that extent, they understand energy. But, with what it has evolved to become what it is, I think my experience from the early days was probably this could have been made more interesting, more mass appealing as an informative tool. And I think we all also are responsible for it. We ourselves were learning through this journey. But if we were to reach out to people more effectively, in more entertaining / informative way to sensitize them about what it means and what it will entail, I think that was something which perhaps we as media didn't do. I'm not sure if we were able, at that point in time, it was the government or us or together. But that, if that was done, maybe we were on a better platform today to explain to them what it would do to our climate. I mean, related with that. So,
Right.
experience-wise, I would say that there was this information that came through. We only took what was required for our headlines, and that's about it. The larger picture was somewhere missing, I think.
Or perhaps also it was also a reflection of the times, in the sense that sector itself was so nascent here.
Exactly.
And
if you're talking about new energy per se, in 2011, as again Rajiv ji mentioned, 2010-11, about 10 odd years ago, when the first time we heard about solar panel, I mean, it all seemed very distant. It wasn't something which a common man would relate and said, okay, I mean, maybe, but that doesn't affect our lives. So yeah, times were different. It evolved, but good thing is now everyone is talking about electric vehicles, for example. That's a subject which has caught everyone's attention, and that's really driving the way we think about renewables. We do understand, and people are acknowledging, and also the fact that we are now giving status on a higher trajectory to people who drive a green car, for example. I mean, incentivizing them not just monetary, but also respectfully, and say, okay, this person is conscious of energy and its limited resource, etc. And the whole purpose of how the kids are being brought up, the schools are sensitizing, educating, etc. So it has definitely changed, and I'm glad about it that the government is also now fully participating.
Right. In fact, also from something which was being very staid and it sounded more like jargons, and
Yeah.
From there it has become the society has become very conscious. As you
Yes.
rightly pointed out, the kids would say that this is something which is polluting, which is something which is not
Yeah.
polluting and stuff and all of that. And someone particularly like you have covered automobile as an you have seen this transition happening from an internal combustion engine to this green mobility. It has been quite a thing, but tell me one thing, because which I wanted to understand today, while the people have been talking about green mobility and electric vehicles, there are not many models available for four-wheelers at least.
Yes.
While the top end is there, obviously the Mercedes and the BMWs of the world are there. But say for example, someone like me who would like to afford a vehicle, there is not many
Absolutely.
options available. So either it's a Tata or a Mahindra, even if I'm not wrong, E-Verito got the
Correct.
stock
And there's
manufacturer.
Nexon EV. Absolutely right. I agree. And I think this is a question most people want to know, which is a good sign, because now they are trying to adopt to electric vehicles, not only because it is I mean, you have to know that the cost is high, obviously, of these vehicles. There's some subsidy, but they are still relatively higher. But on a long-term basis, they are more affordable if you look at the maintenance and the running cost of these products. So people do realize, understand, and adopting. That's the good news. Now, when you're saying there's only high-end cars right now which are available, very few in the low end, the only answer to this is that each manufacturer is working to get the right price product, and it is Maruti and Hyundai and so on and so forth, with even 10 lakh rupees, sub 10 lakh rupees electric vehicle is in works. It's going to come. It's obviously not easy, because to get the costs right, they're taking time. Otherwise, there's demand already.
Right.
To get it at that cost is a challenge, which I think is evolving and working out. So probably to people like you who would like personally to own electric vehicles, I can tell you from what the companies tell me is that you may have to wait for a bit, because it's now the focus is fully electric. So they are going to be bombarded.
And apart from it being a lifestyle choice, it is pure economics now. I cannot afford to pay 95 rupees a liter for petrol right now, which is there. And of all, once and what the experts are saying, or the analysts say, that once maybe after 10th, maybe the prices will spike up again. On that count, I want to get Rajiv, आपसे मैं पूछना चाह रहा था ये जो इंटरेस्ट आपने देखा होगा, ये सिर्फ ये दोनों साथ में चलते हैं कि जो आपने रिपोर्टिंग की, जो आपने अपने शिक्षक को या श्रोता को या रीडर को आपने जो लिख के दिया, ये एक प्रोसेस है। ये सिर्फ ये नहीं है कि आपकी भी ऑडियंस, आपकी जिस तरह की कवरेज होती है वो आपके ऑडियंस पर भी डिपेंड करती है, और ऑडियंस डिमांड करती है। Agnes, the question that I'm posing to him is that how your reportage for green gets influenced by your audience demands as well, the kind of a readership that you are catering to. वहां राजीव आपने क्या देखा? मतलब ये क्योंकि अचानक से, मतलब अब ग्रीन, जो मैंने पहले भी बोला, कोई एसोटेरिक सब्जेक्ट तो रहा नहीं। अब किसी को और अगर सही में देखा जाए तो गांव देहात में ग्रीन हमेशा से हमारे रहने का तरीका है। वो तो अभी लोगों ने डिस्कवर किया है कि ऑर्गेनिक तरीका क्या है और नहीं है। गांव देहात में तो ये हमेशा से ये रहा है। सो ये, लेकिन आपने अपने ऑडियंस में ये कब देखा कि तब्दीली आई उनके इस रुचि में, उनके इस भाव में?
देखिए, रुचि में तो तब्दीली शुरू से है। हमेशा एक ऑडियंस, कोई भी ऑडियंस हो, हम हो, आप हो, हम सब ऑडियंस है। तो जो मेरा ऑडियंस है, जैसे मैं पहली बार रिपोर्टिंग किया था, जो आप अपने घर की छत पर सोलर लगाकर बिजली भी उत्पादन कर सकते, कमा भी सकते हैं, और अपने घर में बिजली की खपत भी कर सकते हैं। लाइक दैट अभी भी यही हो रहा है। तो कई क्वेरीज हमारे पास आए थे पर्सनली कि आपने जो ये लिखा है, हम भाई साहब कैसे कर सकते हैं। इट वॉज वेरी न्यू थिंग एट दैट टाइम। धीरे धीरे ये बढ़ता गया। अभी देखिए, उस दिन मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ पावर ने एक जो निकाला है ना कि हम, अगर आपको सोलर पैनल लगवाना है तो सीधा सब्सिडी आपके घर में जाएगी। आप अपने किसी को आप चूज कर सकते हैं कि आपको किससे लगवाना है। ठीक है, इसको भी मैंने छोटा सा छापा था अपने अखबार में। उस पे भी कई लोगों ने हमसे पूछा कि हम लोग क्या अब सीधा साइट पे ही जाकर करवा सकते हैं, और ये सब्सिडी क्या डीबीटी डायरेक्ट जो बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर होता है लाइक दैट होगा? तो कहीं ना कहीं लोगों में दिलचस्पी जग रही है, लोगों में जागरूकता ये लास्ट 10 सालों में अखबार में छपने से या टेलीविजन, हालांकि टेलीविजन में ऐसी रिपोर्टिंग कम होती है, खास करके हिंदी चैनल में। हिंदी चैनल में जो बिजनेस चैनल है वहां तो कुछ होते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप मेन स्ट्रीम के हिंदी चैनल को देखें तो उसमें ग्रीन पे रिपोर्टिंग बहुत कम है। ओवरऑल परसेंटेज देखेंगे तो मेरे ख्याल से वो नेग्लिजिबल आएगा, 1% से भी कम दिखेगा, आपको बहुत कम दिखेगा। तो अखबार में जो छपता है, धीरे धीरे लोगों में काफी जागरूकता है। लोगों में अब यहाँ तक जागरूकता आ चुकी है कि सोलर पैनल तो 12 साल 15 साल पहले तो हमको खुद नहीं पता था कि सोलर पैनल में क्या क्या बनता है, कैसे बनता है, क्या लगता है, कहाँ से आता है। लेकिन अब तो आम लोग भी जानते हैं कि सोलर पैनल, और इस बार जो पीएलआई की घोषणा की गई है तो इससे भी बड़ा फर्क पड़ने जा रहा है। जो हमारे देश में ही इंडिजिनस हमारा सोलर पैनल होगा, तो मतलब पहले जो था बॉस, ये ग्रीन सब्जेक्ट जो था एक क्लास के लिए था। नाउ इट इज बिकमिंग टू मास। अब जैसे उन्होंने कहा कि अभी ईवी को लेकर काफी इंटरेस्ट लोगों में जग रहा है, तो अब हमसे हमारे पाठक भी पूछते हैं, या जब हम कवर करते हैं, लिखते हैं कि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए जो सोलर के लिए इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल के चार्जिंग के लिए इतने 6200 6200 अगले 2 साल में लग जाएंगे चार्जिंग स्टेशन, एनएच पे लग जाएंगे, तो वो मोस्ट रिलेटेबल न्यूज होता है। जब जब आपको पता है ऑनलाइन में, तो अगर आपकी खबर ऑनलाइन में जा रही है तो आपको पता लग जाता है कि इसको कितने लोगों ने पढ़ा है कि नहीं?
जी।
तो ये सब चीजें सबसे ज्यादा पढ़ी जा रही हैं। इसका मतलब है उत्पल जी कि लोगों की इसमें बहुत जागरूकता है कि अब जैसे इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल जो है वो हॉट सब्जेक्ट है, हर आदमी उसका पढ़ना चाहता है। आप हो, हम हो, एक स्कूटर खरीदने वाला भी पढ़ना चाहता है, कार खरीदने वाला भी पढ़ना चाहता है कि यार कहाँ कहाँ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, कहाँ कहाँ चार्जिंग स्टेशन लग सकता है, और क्या हो रहा है, उसका रेट क्या होगा, बिजली जो हम उसमें चार्ज करेंगे वो कितने देर में हो जाएगा, उसमें जो हम बिजली का जो कंज्यूम करेंगे उसका रेट क्या होगा। तो ये सब चीजें लोगों की उत्सुकता का विषय है, और लोग इसको पढ़ना चाहते हैं, और सबसे ज्यादा हिट है। बट लेकिन क्या है, ये चीज एक बदलाव आया है, खास करके अगर आप सोलर को छोड़ दीजिए तो इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल को लेकर अखबार में भी काफी रिपोर्टिंग हो रही है, चाहे वो हिंदी अखबार हो, अंग्रेजी अखबार हो, और टेलीविजन में भी उस पर स्टोरी दिखाई जा रही है जब कोई गाड़ी लॉन्च होती है या कुछ ऐसा होता है। और अभी इलेक्ट्रिक के लिए देखिए कई सारी कंपनियां आई हैं जो जिनको पीएलआई में लाया गया ना, जो बनाएंगी कमिंग डेज में। इसमें ओला, फर्स्ट टाइम ओला भी जो है हमारे यहाँ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करने जा रही है। तो कहने का मतलब है कि ये ग्रेजुअली जो है लोगों का रुझान बढ़ रहा है, और धीरे धीरे मीडिया का रोल भी इसमें बढ़ रहा है अब जो है। लेकिन हाँ, अभी भी मेरा मानना है कि ग्रीन एनर्जी को लेकर, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल को आप छोड़ दें तो ग्रीन एनर्जी के लिए हम सबको थोड़ा सा जो है लोगों को और अवेयर करना पड़ेगा कि देखिए आपको इसमें इतना फायदा होगा, आपके लिए ये बढ़िया चीज है, सोलर बढ़िया चीज है, आपके लिए बायोफ्यूल जो है वो अच्छी चीज है। तो ये इसके कवरेज को थोड़ा बढ़ाने की जरूरत है, लोगों को ना, मतलब लोगों को नॉलेजेबल बनाने की जरूरत है।
Exactly the reason this panel. That's exactly the reason this panel. So both are electric vehicle and renewable energy, green energy are so closely interconnected. And there are a couple of other things I will conclude in the end later. I hand it back to the moderator. Over to you, Utpal.
नहीं, मैं सिर्फ राजीव यही बोल रहा था कि लोगों को जागरूक करने की तो जरूरत, मतलब मुझे तो हमेशा से लगता है कि जो भारतीय दर्शक है या जो रीडर है वो सबसे जागरूक है, वो काफी कनेक्टेड है और अब डिमांड भी करता है। अगर आप नहीं उस चीज को प्रोवाइड कर पाएंगे, सो Agnes, what I was trying to also say was, and this is what the fellow panelists also mentioned, was that there is the readership also demands certain kind of news wherein there is a subject area such as green mobility or solar. I wanted to ask you this, and obviously you have reported and you have covered the sector over a period of time. From where you are sitting, how does the world look at us? Say the space here in India, at the size of us as well, and obviously anything which happens in India on a scale, given that this country itself provides at such a scale. So 250 million smart meters to be changed. So that is quite a number. 500 gigawatts. I mean, that's a huge number. But that is what us looking inwards and telling this to us, or maybe we are just patting our backs. from where you're sitting, how do you find this India's green energy space, and how does the international press or the media looks at it?
Yeah, please.
Go, let's go.
नहीं hi, please ask. You have asked me.
No. I've asked this to Agnes.
It's okay.
Agnes, because from where you're sitting, and you, obviously you have reported about your country, you would have reported about EU, the developments happening in EU as well. From where you're looking at us, India as both as a market and also as a country, both strategically and economically, what does this mean, and how do you guys view us on green?
Of course, India is Europe pay good attention. I pay attention to India. It's really an interesting market, and a lot of players in here are looking for what you are about your choice and about your energy transition, of course. They always say that is one of the more interesting country to invest, also because it's different from other continent. Of course, I think that India is read as is looked as one of the notices. How can I say? Nearest at our point of view, how can we say that is one of the democracy in Orient, in the side of the world. So it's easiest for Europe, but also I think for American country think to invest in your country, and it's a place that is looking in a very interesting place. So I saw that some Indian enterprise invest in and promote their product in our country. I think about electric vehicles, for example, and we are knowing your technology about, and I think Mahindra and other player, and so India has become a player in the European strategy, I think, and it's known as a place where they look like with interest and then where they want to invest. I talk about Italian energy.
Sorry to interrupt you, Agnes. Sorry to interrupt you. Reggie, I think one of the microphones is on at one of the tech team's end. So maybe you can switch off the microphone.
No, all the tech team microphones are muted. I can see. None of them.
So because there was some kind of a Agnes, please go ahead. Yeah. Agnes, please go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So it's really Europe. Take a look and pay very attention in India probably more than other foreign country. Also because it's really interesting. It's a huge country, but it's also there is a democracy in there. So it's one of the point that make India interesting. And what I was saying is that. Taking a look on Italy, I know that one of our bigger players, that is Enel, and a group invest in India. And so I think it's when Enel do something, Italia do something.
In fact, Enel has been looking at places like they're looking into utility businesses as well. Also, some of the, in fact,
privatization, our Discom privatization, they are interested. They came to us, met everybody gone, including ISGF. Enel has incorporated a new company. It's called Grid Expertise. So they've been one of the gold sponsors for ISGF event, this ongoing India Smart Utility Week. Some very senior people, including the CEO of that new entity, he was a speaker in our program last 3 days. 3 or 4 of his colleagues participated in different sessions. And interestingly, EDF is already working with EESL, Energy Efficiency Services Limited, for smart meter rollout in Bihar and a couple of other places. So Enel is also interested both in undertaking this kind of projects, as well as in the privatization of utilities when it happens, they want to participate. So we can see both these big giants, EDF and NL, active in India.
Right. Reggie, since we are all of us here, and given that we all have a day jobs, why don't you give us a news break as well? So what is happening with ENI as well? ENI is one of the big Italian giants in energy space. Are they also looking at something here?
Agnes, it's to you.
No, in fact, I'm also asking, this is for both of you. It's both for Reggie.
No, I wouldn't know much about the ENI. I know about NL. They constantly talk to me. So
all right. No, so in fact, I wanted to ask this, Agnes. This large Italian majors, ENI is like it's like the Petrobras of Italy. In your conversations with them, as you said that you see a lot of interest, but specifically if we talk about these companies, what has been your feedback, their feedback to you?
Excuse me, their feedback from Italian company to India or Indian company to Italia? I just lose.
No, for the Italian companies to invest in India.
No, it's a huge market. It's really interesting. India is seen as a great Eastern democracy, and I know that there are a lot of pilot and pilot. This means new experiment to make some new enterprise in India. So I know that they really look at it, but I know, of course, that it's not easy to enter in a new country, of course, and they need, as I think also Regis did, probably, I don't know, it's my opinion, that they need some gatekeeper. They need someone that could help them to be involved in the best way. Enel, of course, is one of them. Enel is the biggest company or one of the biggest company in Italy, but it's also very big in other countries. They are big in America Latina, in the South of America and in Chile, and now they are looking very well, very interesting, and they make something in India for smart grid, of course, but also for renewable plant, and so it's about utility and about power plant, and it's about also storage, and I think that we can make a lot of things together, and I think it's really interesting this connection.
Right. In fact, Swati, I wanted to ask you this. You have been covering budgets, and Rajiv has been covering budgets. This budget per se, the one which got just presented, is a huge imprint of climate and green on it. How times change, because in the sense that budgets where no one would have thought that climate would be and Agnes, I'm here referring to the federal budget in India, which got presented on the 1st of February, which is a very washed out exercise here in India, given the size and the scale of it, and government being the largest spender as well. So the question to Swati is that, this particular budget had a huge amount of green imprint on it. Were you expecting this?
Yes, we were. From the way the government has been talking and constantly trying to engage with media to tell them that, this is what the objective is. And if you see the Prime Minister himself, I think he's leading it. And frankly, however you want to take it, good or bad, but I think his direction is what, is passed down to his ministers. And they're actually going out there with a purpose. There has been a plan devised for the new and renewable energy sector. Again, you would know it nicely on how things are, going at a very, very fast pace.
He did address a webinar in the morning today. So.
Yes. So yeah, so green energy is his baby. I mean, and that's great for a country like ours. For anybody whose leader is, if he's spearheading it, it's for the cause, for a good cause for their nation. And I think our COP26 commitment and then reaffirming it, etc., is clearly something that the government's priority is straight away aligned. I mean, there's no doubt about it that they are not serious on it. The only challenge and the question is, how much does it actually get implemented on ground? Ultimately, it's about the implementation. Now, companies have aligned themselves. The good news is they were doing it as a CSR activity earlier, and now they are doing it because there is a directive and there is a way they will be judged. And there is some amount of also pressure from the government to say that, corporates or the leaders must come out and invest in this space, because eventually it will be a good business case also. So I think it's actually a good thing that it's been led from the top, and there are SOPs incentives, and not just that, but also the roadmap being devised for this sector for people to seriously invest. As our friend from Italy is telling us that, the big companies looking at India as an opportunity clearly shows that they see that there's serious commitment from the government's end to make this a success and lead for the world to see where India could go. And frankly, everyone is starting from the same page. It's a clean slate because green energy is something that's happening or evolving now. How much lead will we take, to what advantage we will do, how much policies will actually translate into reality, etc., is a matter of something that we will see over time. But I think media in this day and age and time is surely certainly taking interest, because it's also getting noticed. One, in some pockets we see, obviously there's more like grid, nobody is interested, but electric vehicle there perhaps is more interest. So
No,
it's
sorry to interrupt your chain of thought, Swati, but after that Red Echo targeting of India's grid, which was in 2020, I think grid became also one of those subjects where people started looking at it. So this is
okay,
Chinese
yeah,
hacker group which came in. Yeah, sorry,
yes.
I interrupted you. Sorry, please
No,
go
no,
ahead.
absolutely right. But I'm just trying to say that, it doesn't matter what Discom financial health is versus my electric vehicle, which is green and it is clean. So, slowly but surely we are getting there. But I think storytelling has to be far more effective. I mean, we as media people need to make it more interesting, more relatable to normal people, how and what it will entail, rather than thinking, oh, it's a future technology, it's a new age technology, your kids will handle it, we are fine. No, but they need to be told today, and we need to do this now. Maybe
Yeah,
change the way we set the narrative.
yeah, and rather than only engineers like Reggie understanding it, right?
Exactly.
Reggie, on that count, I would I think we have run out of time, so over to you. And also, given that perhaps my esteemed panelists would like to go back to the newsrooms as well, over to you, Reggie. Yeah.
I take a couple of minutes to put some new light onto what exactly how we can take this message to the masses more effectively, efficiently, and then give it back to you for your final parting comments. So we talked about electric vehicle, people are interested. So what we are trying to do is that now the electricity from the grid we are using for charging the electric vehicle, you can also take the electricity back from the electric vehicle to power your home. You don't need an inverter. You don't need a DG set in the rural area. So vehicle to grid or vehicle to building, the technology is already there. Today's batteries are also efficient and capable of doing that. Battery cost has come down, its performance has also increased. So all the new vehicles which are going to come in 2023, 24 will be have this functionality, vehicle to building or vehicle to grid. So that is going to prove be a very big application for the people. You don't need to worry in case of a power cut, your essential things will work. So we are going to do a demonstration of that in collaboration with some technology partners very soon in Delhi. So last 2 years we wasted because of the pandemic, and we didn't get permission from NDMC. Now we are going to do it in the BSCS Rajdhani area. So similarly, 2 pilot projects we have done, peer-to-peer trading of rooftop solar energy on a blockchain platform. First one we have done it in Lucknow, because if we do it in Delhi, the states will say, oh, Tata Power or BSCS, they have good people. We don't have, we will not be able to. So I wanted to break that myth. These days, any new technology, I try to do it in UP or in one of those states where the government discom is there, and then we take it to other places. So blockchain we have done 12 participants in Lucknow, 9 of them with rooftop solar, 3 of them are net buyers, they don't have rooftop. So 12 people, we brought them onto a trading platform made on a blockchain, and these people are able to buy and sell electricity among themselves. So UP net metering policy, they had changed it in 2019, and if you have surplus generation, you get only 2 rupees from the UPPCL. So if I have a 5 kilowatt solar panel, if I generate more than what I consume, I get only 2 rupees back. Whereas the electricity I buy from the grid, I pay 9 rupees. So there is a 7 rupee difference. So we made these people to do a price discovery. 5 rupees 65 paise was equally beneficial for both the parties, and the regulator allowed us to do that on a trial basis, pilot basis, and he has also now framing regulation to scale up that. Immediately after that, with Tata Power, we have done here, we had 145 participants, and there again for 1 year we have done this trial and error, and now demonstrated to the Delhi Regulatory Commission. Very soon you will be able to do that. So just imagine, for your now the open access for green energy for public charging station or electric vehicle charging. You just imagine you can sell your surplus electricity from your rooftop solar for somebody to power his electric vehicle, or when you are 1 week you are traveling outside, your house is locked, you are on the hill or sea on holiday, the electricity which is generated, you are selling it to somebody else. All that you can do it from your mobile phone wherever you are. So these are all new area. Everybody becoming a participant in the utility business. So traditionally, what happened behind the meter, utilities never bothered, but today they need to, and we have, instead of a consumer or a customer, we want every electricity customer to be a participant in the, say, maintaining the grid balance, making it more efficient, new services. So I am allowing, using my platform, my network, electricity network, allowing you to buy and sell, trade among yourself. When the power,
does it have policy okay on it? As in, do
yeah,
the government
it is coming.
legality of
Delhi and UP, it is coming. UP, it is already there in the last year tariff order, but a bigger policy is going to come after the election. We will file a petition. I mean, UPPCL will file a petition, and then they will issue order. And we have clarity. Delhi already, we made a presentation in December. Then the commission was closed for several days because of the Omicron. So we expect them to do that. Agnes has raised her hand. 1 more minute, and then back to you. Yes, Agnes. You are muted. You can unmute and then speak.
Sorry, just to say that in Italy and in Europe we are working with the energy community, and so we used to improve the prosumer, the consumer that can give his energy, and they could make a community around him, and so do that. So I think that we are going to make something similar. It's really interesting, really amazing. Thank you.
And lastly, for the renewable energy revolution in the country, full credit should go to Mr. Modi. In 2010, when CERC fixed a rate for solar energy at 17 rupees 60 paise, and they told the states to bid out, 1,000 megawatt was committed by Gujarat, out of which about 900 megawatt is already commissioned. And 17 rupees 60 paise for 25 years PPA he wrote. And next year, the CERC and Ministry of Power and MNRE, they told NTPC to come and do a reverse bidding. When they started 2013, when they did the reverse bidding, price came down to 11 rupees. Then the year after that, it came to 8 rupees. And today it is 2.5 to 3 rupees, or less than 3 rupees. So this journey would not have happened without that kind of a commitment, early adoption. And then 2014, first time when Mr. Modi went to USA, President Obama said they have doubled their renewable energy targets. He came back and told that if they have doubled it, we have to make it 10 times. So 20 gigawatt of the JNNSM program, which was there, 20 gigawatt by 2020, he made them say it should be 200. The bureaucracy resisted. Everybody resisted. We said, no, our grid cannot absorb that much. He didn't relent. For 3-4 months, he was every week taking meeting. And then finally, RE Invest program was launched in sometime in 2015, February, where everybody finally agreed this 20 gigawatt will be 100 gigawatt, and wind will go to 60, and another 15, 175 came like that. He insisted, and all the people said, the bureaucracy and including our technology people running the grid said it's not possible. So because we have a 175 gigawatt target, today we are more than 100 maybe by end of this year, we may reach somewhere like 120 or 130. But if you are 20 gigawatt target, if you are pursuing, we would have been nowhere. The prices also would have been 6 rupee or 7 rupee even today, not below 3 rupees per kilowatt hour. So full credit goes to him. And he is passionate about all this new technologies also. So as a result, when I used to go and talk about smart meter or any of this blockchain or any of this technology, the typical answer from the grid operators as well as from engineers as well as from bureaucracy was that this all work in Europe and America. Either nahi chalta hai. But one, our mobile revolution. Number two, Prime Minister himself using technology, and he's fascinated about showing that he's using technology. That has helped actually. Nobody said no to anything new today. Any pilot project I want to do, everybody is ready for that. Thank you very much. Back to you, Utpal, and to everybody for their parting thoughts.
Thank you, Reggie. In fact, you did also give us a lead about when Delhi will be coming up with a policy. Thanks for that. No, absolutely, it has been absolutely an enriching discussion for me. In fact, apart from the fact, obviously, meeting old friends as well. Rajiv, your parting statement.
देखिए, अभी ये सारी जो बातें हुई तो कहीं ना कहीं ये तो है कि हम सबका जो है वो रोल है मतलब जो भी एनर्जी सेक्टर कवर करने वाले जर्नलिस्ट हैं वो आज अगर हम किसी को बताते हैं कि आपने छत पे सोलर लगवाकर तुम उसको बेच भी सकते हो और अपने घर में भी कंज्यूम कर सकते हो, जैसा कि पिल्लई साहब ने अभी एक अच्छी जानकारी दी जो कि बहुत कम लोगों को पता है कि कल को आपकी जो बैटरी है इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल की उससे भी अपने घर की लाइट जला सकते हैं। तो अगर गांव में कल को बिजली चली जाती है तो वो उसका इस्तेमाल इस रूप में भी कर सकते हैं। तो ये एक मीडिया का जो रोल है वो ग्रीन एनर्जी के लिए खास करके आप जैसा कि उत्पल जी आपने पूछा था कि बजट में भी, तो ये बजट जो है वो जब से कॉप उसके बाद से जो हमने टारगेट फिक्स किया है अपने कार्बन इमिशन का और या फिर 5 लाख मेगावाट का ग्रीन एनर्जी को लेकर, तो इन सब के बाद से जो है हमारा फोकस्ड एरिया जो है अब वो ग्रीन एनर्जी ही हो गया है और उसमें मीडिया अब चूंकि गवर्नमेंट का फोकस हो गया है तो जाहिर सी बात है मीडिया में कवरेज जो है उसको प्रायोरिटी मिलने लगी है, लोगों का इंटरेस्ट बढ़ गया है। लेकिन फिर भी अभी इन सब चीजों की और जो है लोगों का ध्यान थोड़ा सा और बढ़ाने की जरूरत है और चूंकि आप जैसे जो उत्पल जी आप जैसे जो लोग जो लिखते हैं खास करके अंग्रेजी में, हालांकि देखिए इंडिया में अभी भी अंग्रेजी पढ़ने वाले लोग जो है वो कम है, हिंदी पढ़ने वाले लोग ज्यादा है, तो जाहिर सी बात है उसमें हमारा रोल ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है कि हम लोगों को बताएं कि ये चीज आपके लिए कैसे फायदेमंद है, ये इससे आपके साथ साथ देश को कितना फायदा है, ये इसके साथ साथ कार्बन उत्सर्जन जो है कार्बन इमिशन कितना कम होगा, तो सो दैट की एक नॉलेज पैक की जरूरत है मीडिया में और इसके लिए सिर्फ एक सेशन से काम नहीं चलेगा। मुझे लगता है पिल्लई साहब को इन सब चीजों के लिए थोड़ा सा ज्यादा मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी और रीजनल सेंटर पे जाकर जैसे लखनऊ में, पटना में, हैदराबाद में, तो वहां इन सब चीजों को वहां के जर्नलिस्ट के साथ आपको इंटरेक्ट करना चाहिए, उनको बताना चाहिए कि आप इसमें इन्वॉल्व होइए, इसमें लिखिए, लोगों को जागरूक कीजिए, उनको नॉलेजेबल बनाइए, तब जाकर कुछ बात बनेगी।
We will take this journey forward. Thank you very much for that. We will do it.
Influencers, people who are watched, are seen as heroes. I think उन लोगों को सामने लाएंगे तो उनके मैसेज लोग ज्यादा जल्दी समझते हैं. They hear them, they look up to them. So I think the brand ambassadors, so to say.
Yeah, absolutely, Swati. And I think I absolutely agree with Swati because people don't want to listen to us like drones. So as in, it doesn't make much sense to anyone, right? And she absolutely, both Rajiv and Swati absolutely have a point because Rajiv जी का जो कहना है कि गांव देहात में जाके लोगों को बताइए जो वहाँ engage कर रहे हैं लोगों से. And as Swati rightly put out that obviously influencers.
Brand ambassador.
Yeah. So and Agnes, any parting statement from you?
I just want to underline that energy transition and ecological transition is also an economy transition. So as the Regis also show us, the sharing of energy, this new type of economy could be also an interesting developing for our country, I think.
Right, Agnes. Thanks a lot. Thanks for joining us. And thank you, Rajiv. Thank you, Swati. Thank you, Reggie.
Thank you very much. Stay safe.
Thank you,
Hope to see
Utpal ji. बहुत दिनों के बाद
maybe 2
मुलाकात
months,
हुई आपसे.
Nice to
few
catch
months
up.
down the line, after the war situation is over, maybe we will have another session. We'll try to get more of your colleagues, for which we will seek your cooperation, because we don't know many of them. Utpalji happened to be a good friend for a long time, so I know him. And many of you others I am interacting for the first time. And Agnes used to participate in our programs. That's how we know her.
Sir, one line I would like to tell you from IPCC report, and I think that struck with us. All of us should take this back with when we're discussing this topic. Nature can be our savior only if we save it first. So, it's really in our hands.
Exactly. Another very interesting tweet I saw 2-3 days ago. Someone had said that after the war, price of petroleum and fuel has gone up by 30% within a week, whereas cost of solar energy is the same throughout the world, irrespective of what happens. Yes, no, nothing has changed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everybody
Bye-bye.
stay safe and look
Thank
forward
you.
to.
Thank you.
Thank you.